The High Lord Raven sneered and shook Colm's hands off of him. He bristled at the desperate faces of his men. You won't let him get away with it? As if a mere level 2 master could defeat him. Didn't you watch him strike Marius down with ease? Nathan Hayfield's stronger than Duke Godricson's finest warrior, yet you claim to have the strength to meet him? What foolish talk is this? Even if every man here were to face him all together, we still might not have the strength to pull it off. Somebody, tell me I'm wrong. But nobody could tell the High Lord Raven he was wrong. Despite their collective anger, the warriors of House Raven knew that their leader's words were true. There was nothing they could do to stop him. Remus sighed and collected himself before going on. Screw honor. Screw dignity. My eldest son is dead. I would rather yield and live through today. That way I can seek vengeance later on, instead of going out in glory and letting House Hayfield sleep easy at night. Claudius raised an eyebrow at his brother's words. Does that mean, then, that you have a plan, brother? Of course it does, Claudius. So what if we lose our lands and all our titles? We are men. We are warriors, and we will have our revenge. Now who's with me? Dishonor and justice. The men roared together as one, their passion and their purpose restored. Dishonor and justice. It was late afternoon, and the sun was lowering in the sky when the seats of the stadium were once again full. Thousands of commoners and nobles alike waited impatiently for the final bout to begin. The sounds of betting, laughing, and arguing wafted over the arena. Down in the stadium grounds, Nathan scratched his head as he waited beside Ulrich and Amelia for House Raven to appear. The official host of the event yawned and checked a nearby sundial embedded in the ground. He frowned as a shadow passed beyond a red line. It was over an hour past when the fight was to commence again, and still there was no sign of House Raven. Whisperings from the crowd made their way into Nathan's ears as he impatiently walked around the dueling ring. I wonder, at this point, perhaps the warriors of House Raven might not show up at all. I bet they're too afraid. After how Nathan cut down Elder Marius, there's no way the High Lord Raven can take him on, even with 2 of his warriors. I'm sure you're right. After all, I'd be terrified to face him, even if I had 100 warriors beside me. I don't believe it. There's no way House Raven doesn't show up. They'd be shamed for the rest of their lives. How could they even consider admitting defeat? That's right. If the High Lord Raven doesn't fight, it'll bring dishonor to all spiritual warriors of the realm. I'll have no respect at all for any of those Raven warriors after this. Nathan paced anxiously past his father, who gave him a reassuring smile. Relax, Nathan. Whether they show up or not, you'll win a great victory for all of us. Thank you, Father, but I wish to end them now. If they do not face me, how will I know that you and Amelia are safe? Before Ulrich could respond, a member of the crowd stood up and shouted, Look! Look! House Raven approaches! All eyes fell on a single warrior in a purple cloak that entered the stadium grounds and approached the head official. The host nodded slowly as the warrior whispered something in his ear. As Nathan approached, he saw the host shake his head and grimace at the embarrassed-looking House Raven warrior. I don't care what the High Lord Raven told you to say. According to the rules of the examination, he must appear in the flesh and admit defeat himself. It must be heard before the public, or it is not valid. The host spoke loud enough for some people in the stands to hear, and soon all eyes were focused on the scrawny young warrior clad in purple. Apologies, sir. I was merely here to give you the message. The host sneered at the youth as Nathan approached them. Save your apologies, boy.
tell Remus to get his ass over here at once."
The house raven messenger paled under the intense gaze of the massive crowd in the stadium. Nathan frowned at the boy's hesitancy. Clearly, something was up. Under normal circumstances, the High Lord Raven himself would have to have entered the arena and publicly admitted defeat by yielding in the dueling ring. But the House Raven messenger simply shook his head as the official host of the aristocracy exam began to grimace. "Well, kid, go get your master."
He isn't here, sir. I mean, he's locked himself inside his chambers. He's refusing to enter the stadium."
Preposterous. He must make this humiliation public at once. To do anything less is to spit on hundreds of years of tradition and ceremony.
"I'm sorry, sir. What would you have me do?"
Very well, then. Announce your house's shame for all to hear." Tens of thousands of eyeballs gazed upon the young messenger as he shuffled past Nathan and stood up atop the host's stage. Eventually, he held up a hand for silence, and soon the stadium grew so quiet that one could have heard a pin drop. The messenger boy cleared his throat several times as he worked up the nerve to speak. His voice cracked as he did his best to fulfill his duty.
"Citizens of Godricshall, my house, Raven, admits defeat. We forsake this trial and yield our title and our lands to House Hayfield."
Before the crowd could erupt in an emotional uproar, the messenger boy jumped off the stage and took off sprinting past Nathan toward the arena exit. After a moment of shocking silence, the crowd reacted as if a bomb had gone off inside the arena. Thousands booed the messenger, while thousands more cheered on Nathan's victory. Before Nathan had a chance to react to the news, his superior hearing couldn't help but pick up hundreds of conversations from the crowd. Derision for House Raven flowed freely from their lips.
"Some high house the Ravens were. They didn't even have the guts to fight in the final round. The fact that they were nobles sickens me. Forget fighting. The High Lord Raven was so scared, he didn't even show up to yield his title in person."
"Don't you mean reluctant Remus of the common house Raven?"
"Ha ha! They're less than common now. They'll be nothing more than a laughingstock after this. Anybody who praised them ought to be slinking in their seats right now." "What cowards! They only had a few strong warriors, and now that they're gone, there's nothing but a bunch of weak bullies left. Pathetic goons who prey on the helpless and fear the strong." "You said it. Everybody knows they'd abuse their own townships and lands to squeeze every last drop of gold from the countryside and leave their own people with nothing to eat. If anyone deserves to fall from grace, it's those arrogant fools." "What a bunch of craven ravens."
Nathan smiled at the conversations in the crowd that he overheard. He'd successfully won over the favor of the entire crowd, and many people who'd held their tongue for fear of retribution were now free to shout about the abuses of House Raven with impunity. For this was a world that respected heroic warriors above all else, and there was nothing lower than a coward who preyed on the weak and failed to protect his family. The townsfolk of Godricshall would have berated House Raven for losing no matter what, but this final spiritless act of sending out a child messenger to admit defeat on behalf of their lord was the icing on the cake. Even if they had 100 years to repair their reputation, there was no way House Raven could ever recover from such an embarrassing debacle. As the House Raven messenger raced through the walls of the stadium and made his way into the cobblestone streets of the city, he was met with the jeering chants of the common folk, who relished an opportunity to get even with their former oppressors.
"Craven Raven! Craven Raven! Go fly away back to your nest!" The messenger boy's face grew red from shame,
as the sigil on his tunic that had once brought him honor and respect now it made him feel ashamed and foolish.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.